watching In the Game, and we're talking the African Cup of Nations qualifiers. So, what happened to three-time African champions, the Super Eagles of Nigeria? Just listen on this tale. Of many remains. What? Why? Why do those Eagles lack creative midfielders? Why did Alex Iwobi play so deep? And why did the defenders not step up? All right, these questions and many other will get its answer right now. We've got joining us all the way from Spain, of course, a Nigerian international who has been there and done that. We have Amuneke joining us all the way from Spain. Thank you so much for joining us, Coach.
Morning.
Good morning to you, Coach. For all those who, of course, are not familiar with this face, let me give you the tale here. Amuneke is the former international and Nigerian football manager. He played as a winger during his days in the Nigerian colours. He is also a professional football coach. Coach places clubs like Julius Berger, Ocean Boys, Tanzania, and El Makata. And he's also the 2015 winner of the FIFA Under-17 World Cup with Nigerian Under-17 team. He is remembered for his famous goal against Argentina in Nigeria's journey to winning gold in the Olympic at Atlanta 96. Thank you so much, Coach, for joining us on the show today. There are a lot of questions the fans would like to get, and I'm very sure in your wealth of knowledge, you would unpack those answers for us. But let's start with the lineup of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yes, we did see the lineup before the start of the game, with a lot of fans asking the question, oh, why having this group to even go with an experienced centre-back like Kenneth Omerua at the central defence? A lot of questions to answer there. But let me start up with what you thought about that display by the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Well, thank you very much. The fact is that we just need to be realistic to ourselves. I know we deal our issues with a lot of emotions in terms of how well we meant for our team. We want our Super Eagles to be the top in the world. But the reality also is that football has evolved a lot. And when we fail to catch up with the changes that the game in question is bringing, and then we continue to ask ourselves the same questions on and on. The players that we have, in terms of, when you look at them, they are doing very well in their respective clubs. But we should also bear it in mind and realize that club football is totally different from national team football. Why am I saying this? You need the players that can, in a short period of time, adapt to the situations and perform. While in the club level, you have all the weeks to train and plan and prepare your team from tactical point of view to the technical point of view, and then making sure that your team is ready to compete. So it's a very different ball game. When we look at our players, for example, people will be wondering, is it Osimhen that week in, week out in Italian league he's scoring, and then why is he not scoring? I think it's a very simple question. When you have to look at the characteristics of your players, what are their qualities? What are their abilities? What can they bring on board into the team? And who are those that can complement their effort? And then you make sure that you have those teams. But the fact is that we are just, as a nation, we are assembling just a group of players that are doing well in their respective clubs. And then we are expecting them the same way they are playing maybe in Europe. When they come down to Nigeria, they are going to play the same way. It's very, very difficult. There are a lot of factors. You talk about the climate. Most of these guys, they play their games sometimes during the winter when the weather is accommodating. And then during the summer, on those past glories in terms of who we are. But we just have to be realistic. We are not there. We cannot even compete when we come to Africa. Is it that we don't have the player? We have the players, but we just need to, develop our players, prepare to represent your country. It's a pride. It's something that one should be, grateful of. But of course, the players, they must realize that the responsibility also lies in them. A lot of Nigerians are looking onto them. Football football is what brings us happiness in Nigeria. These are things that, brings a common man with a wealthy man together to have a joy. But, when we start to trade in this part, then I think we are going to the wrong place in terms of we will not be in a position to be able to compete with the rest of Africa.
What has been said by you, coach, there, but observations have been made on Nigeria's use of two midfielders. I did see that list, the midfielders that were listed by coach Jose Peseiro, and a lot wondered these midfielders are not having game time in their respective club. Now, the use of two midfielders, which may say makes the backline a bit suffering a bit with that 4-4-2 formation. What formation do you think suits the Super Eagles best? The 4-3-3 formation, which has been tested to suit the striker, Victor Osimhen, so he can get more of the balls.
Well, it's not a bad system. We shouldn't forget that system is just a number. Capability and have the intelligent and the knowledgeable about the game. What is their role? A midfielder, in as much is a midfielder, but a midfielder also, when you're a creative midfielder, you know your responsibilities. When you look at our team over the years, you could see that our team is a team that, we have midfielders, but what kind of midfielders do we have? Are we having midfielders that can, deliver the balls to the striker? So these are some of the factors that we talk about. It's not about whether we play 4-3-1, whether we play 4-2-3-1, whether we play 4-3-3. So the question is the ability for the players to adapt to the system. And bear it in mind, the system is not what gives you a game. It's the characteristics of the players, the attitude of the players, the behaviors of the players to be in a position to interpret a system in question with the ball and without the ball. The key two moments in football is when a team has the ball. When a team has the ball, how are they managing the ball in terms of how are they progressing to achieve their objectives, which is arriving at the opponent goalpost and scoring. And when they don't have the ball, how are they defending to prevent the opponent also not to play comfortable? So these are just factors that you don't just play a system because you want to play a system. You have to look at the characteristics of players that are at your disposal. Then you look at their quality and look at how you can make the best out of it.
Okay, there was a part in that game against Guinea-Bissau where we saw Osimhen. Why I asked that question purposely. Osimhen and Onuachu, they ran into each other. I was a bit confused at that point, the second half, where Jose Peseiro was trying to salvage the situation. A lot did argue that the Super Eagles were playing individual football just for their glory. Now, do you see that clash between Osimhen and Onuachu at that moment as a glaring fight for superiority among the team?
Well, I think I don't think such a thing should be existing.
Okay.
I don't think Osimhen is Osimhen, Onuachu is Onuachu. They both have different quality. And when you look at the player in question, Onuachu is a player very big and very, he have a presence in the opponent goal area. And Osimhen the same thing. And Onuachu is a player that mostly deal with crosses and then approaching the ball. But Osimhen is a player in question that can move a lot. He's a player that can run to space where he can receive. But the question also is that do we even have the players that can give these players those balls that are needed? These are things we need to ask ourselves. During our playing days, we have Yekini. Yekini is a man that he has a lot of presence in the box. But when you look at the wings, the flags, I myself, Finidi George, or maybe Babangida or Victor Kweba, we have these players that can, feed our strikers and make them to be lively. So when you look at these Super Eagles, but it's not just about this game. Over the years, it's just that, sometimes we are not paying much attention to our national team. Then maybe we have lost now. Everybody wants to of the other players. You just need to find a way to accommodate them because at the end, you need those players to to bring the best out of the other players. So I think these are things we don't have. You don't have a midfielders that can give a pass to Osimhen. Yeah, we can have midfielders that can mark, that can fight and recover the ball. But at the end of the day, when you have players like Osimhen that moves a lot, that run to space, you need players that can give him that ball to be more effective.
Okay, you just took us down memory lane, telling us the time you played. Oh, yes, we loved the Super Eagles so much at that time. The players could give blood and sweat on the field of play. But I would like to ask you, you've been there and done that, Coach. Do you think the Super Eagles brand has fallen? A lot were alluding to the fact that the Abuja Stadium has got maybe this bad omen because previous game, but I do not agree with that. Previous games in Abuja have been played and we've recorded wins and good results from those games. But let's put the pitch, which you did say in your first response, into focus right now. Do we say the MK Abiola Stadium is the best the pitch Nigeria can offer in terms of where the Super Eagles can play their games? Because a lot would have said the pitch was a big factor to the Super Eagles' results yesterday.
Well, we Africans, we are superstitious, and we have played 2 games there. We lost, not lost. We drew, not qualifying for the World Cup, and now we are losing again in the same stadium. So people will always believe maybe the stadium is a bad luck, but also we need to ask ourselves, where else do we have to play? If not Abuja Stadium or Akpabio Stadium. So at Uyo, where else can we play that is comfortable, that is accommodating in terms of having fans that are coming to the stadium to cheer us up? So I think it's not just about the stadium. We shouldn't put it to the stadium. It's just about, being fair and honest to ourselves. The game in question is evolving. The game is changing. What are things that we are doing to help our players? We are the opinion of we have good players doing well in Europe, but we also expect them when they come down to Nigeria, we are going to see the same. We should have it in mind that other African countries also, they have been able to have the same maybe pleasure we have in terms of having players that were born in Europe coming back to represent their fatherland, and the competition is getting higher. So I don't think it's the stadium. It's just our attitude. We should do away. We should be more realistic in our objectives. We should be more real. Even the players, they should be more also realistic. It's not just I'm privileged to be in the national team. You should know why you are in the national team. And one thing about Nigerians, and I keep on saying it, even when you lose a game, but when they see the commitment in you, when they see the commitment in the team, Nigeria is always ready to move on. But when hopes are being expected, and then people come on board and expecting that they are just going to beat their opponent, I think this is where we are getting it wrong. Nothing comes easy anymore in football. Nigeria now has to, before any team that you want to play, you must be ready to work extra mile to get and achieve your results.
Okay, looking at what you've mentioned, that we should not allude any bad omen to that pitch. Would you still say the brand of the Super Eagles has fallen?
Well, the brand, Super Eagles is a big name, and I don't think the brand, of course, maybe we are just going through a phase of difficulties in our football in terms of what people are expecting. They are not seeing it. But when you talk about the brand, Super Eagles is a brand, and it's a product of Nigeria, and Nigerians are, even the Nigerians are happy, Nigerians are privileged to have Super Eagles. But of course, there's a lot need to be improved in terms of to consolidate the brand, to keep the brand growing. A lot need to be done. We can have the best jerseys, but of course, if our football is not complementing with the best jerseys that we have, then I could uprightly say that, the brand is dropping. But Super Eagles is always Super Eagles. A lot of people look onto Super Eagles. So we should have unity in terms of giving everybody the opportunity, those playing in abroad, those playing in Nigeria, having it in mind that as long as I'm playing in Nigeria, if I keep on working hard, I deserve to be in the national team. I think that's what I could say. Because most of us in the 80s and in the early 90s and on, most of us came from Nigerian league. And it was from Nigerian league we all went to abroad and then we're able to consolidate ourselves. And I think the same process needs to be, we could argue in a different way that the level of or the standard of the players playing in Nigeria is not up to the national team. But I also believe that they deserve to be part of this project. They deserve to be given opportunity. And then it's up to them to go there and convince and then convince the coaches, convince Nigerians that they deserve to be here. And I think that's the only way we can move forward.
Forward it is, and forward I believe the Nigerian team will move from now on. So I would like to get this clarification from you on lighter notes. A lot have mispronounced your name for a very long time, so I'd like to hear it from the legend himself, how to pronounce your name.
Well, my name is Emmanuel Amuneke.
Thank you so much. For all those who have not been pronouncing this properly, you've heard from the legend himself. So let's get to know what you've been up to. We know that you've coached a lot of club sides and even Tanzania national team and even the Nigerian Super Eagles. But what has Emmanuel Amuneke been up to?
Well, presently, Emmanuel Amuneke is in Zambia. And I'm coaching a team, a club side with the Zambian Premier League called Zanaco FC. So I'm still doing what I love. As a player, I have done my part with the grace of God. And as a coach, we are still trying to do the best we can and continue to learn and continue to grow.
Will Emmanuel Amuneke love to coach the Super Eagles once again? Another trial.
No, it's never a trial. I never coached Super Eagles.
Okay.
So people should. I never coached Super Eagles. I have come twice to assist someone. But coaching Super Eagles on my own, I have never. Of course.
Will you want to do it again? Will you want to do it anytime in the nearest future?
Of course, Super Eagles is my Nigeria is my country, and the national team, we are all part of it. And when the opportunity comes, and we feel, and Nigerians feel that we can add something to the national team, of course, it's a welcome development.
And I would also open my arms wide to that development there. I'm very sure that you had a big smile on your face when Tanzania defeated Uganda in that African Cup of Nations qualifiers there, being a former coach of Tanzania team.
It was a very good. Yesterday I was watching. I was watching the game. It was very, very interesting because this is the first time Tanzania has gone to Uganda and won. During my time, we went there, we big draw, and then we defeated them in Dar es Salaam. That it gave us the qualification to the AFCON of 2019 or 18, I think. But I was happy yesterday and seeing some of the players that I worked with, and they have grown and they are doing very well. So I'm happy for them. I'm happy. That's the objective. We are praying. It's not just only qualify once. I think they must find it necessary to seize the moment to continue to qualify, and that we also, give them the possibility of their players in terms of developing and also having more players, playing aside and bringing experience back home.
Thank you so much. It has been a swell time in a conversation with you, Coach Emmanuel Amuneke. I cannot wait to do this once again, an interesting conversation with you. And we do wish you all the best and opening our arms here when you're ready to pick up that mantle to coach the national team once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you.
Amen. Have a lovely day, Coach. Yeah. There you heard it from one man who has been there, done that, legend of the game. Of course, he has seen all it's ever to be seen, away from the records that is still to be broken in the nearest future. Time spent on the show today, but I'm very sure they're a very, very important time, and you want to spend this kind of time again on In The Game. Hashtag In The Game. If you have questions for the legend himself, he's ready to answer. Or go to our social media platforms at News Central TV and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I have to call it a day on the show. I am Onyenyechi Obaro. Thank you for being there.